Bam. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody had a great day. Let's talk a little bit about what DR did today. Today was another one of those, kind of one setup, take the trade, and just kind of hang out for the rest of the day. Till the end of the day, we actually had some action, which we'll talk about. So let's go. Let's go take a look. All right. So 44.96 to 44.74. So about a 21, 22 point range roughly. So, again, within our 16 to 20 plus, what we like to see. Now, this was a relatively easy one, but again, you had to be quick on this one. And I'll tell you what, today I was quick. Yesterday, I was a little cautious about, taking a trade off of the DR itself, trying to wait for the IDR. Today, I took the trade right off the DR, and I'll show you why in a second. So now we had, if you look at what we had today, we kind of had a little bit of, we had the main movement was coming down, right? So a little bit of bias to the downside, even though we started to come back up toward the end. I had a figure we were kind of moving down. And, one thing I noticed is we took out both a daily and a monthly sell side down here, right? So eventually I knew we were going to come back up, right? But we started going down, but I knew we'd come back up because most time when you take that monthly out, again, that's a very strong sell side. So, there's a lot of liquidity down there. Once that liquidity is taken, the obvious thing is to move back up toward the top. So we'll see what happens tomorrow heading into FOMC. All right. So I'm going to take those off real quick so it don't kind of get in the way. Let me see if I can do that. Let me get rid of that one. All right, these are all now no longer valid. So we'll get rid of both of those. All right, awesome. Okay, so let's hit DR. We have, confirmation around about 10:35. We had a nice confirmation there. So, of course, what we're looking for is a retrace. All right, and so we had this retrace coming back up here on this candle. And what I was looking for, and the reason why I was kind of confident with this one is it's gone now because it's been taken out. But right here, we had a fair value gap. I know I'm drawing this very badly, but we had a bearish fair value gap, right? So that was red, so we want price to come down. And so if you notice that the wick of that candle was actually right in that inside that fair value gap, right? Let me try if I can do it again. Make it a little straighter. All right, so that's closer. All right, so you see the wick sitting right here. And so once that wick, so not only did it go back up into above the DR, it also had the confluence of actually going inside that fair value gap. All right, so order was on the fair value gap. Order was on the DR low. Okay, and with the all I was looking for was for 5 points, right? So that was about let's say 75. Got down to 70, and we're out the trade. Right, so boom, life is good. All right, so that's your DR trade for today, right? For the first one. Okay, now if we're looking at it from what other trades I could have taken, and actually I had an order to reset on the DR, right? I had an order I was putting on the DR, but if you notice these candles here, we actually never got back to the DR. Okay, what we did get back to is that fair value gap again, right? But again, I wasn't, we had just barely got into that fair value gap on this candle right here. So if you were playing that role, you could have actually just taken it and let it play itself out. So that would have been a nice move as well. If you're doing, again, ICT type things, right? But because it didn't go above the DR for me, I didn't take the trade. And again, right now, I'm very, very busy at work. So I'm just I get in when I can. I set my alerts. All right, my alert goes off. I take a look real quick. Had an alert set on that DR line. Never went off. Right, so I just happened to look back on oh, well, I see what happened. It was inside that fair value gap. Now, you can also put alerts in the fair value gap also if you wanted to, right? But that's a story for another day. All right, so that's so again, a very nice, down, retrace, come back down, 5 points, I'm out. And now I'm running 2 mini contracts. So 5 points is actually Not a bad haul, right? So if you're, that's all you got, that's all you get, and life is good. Okay. I was very comfortable running two minis today, so it was again because I had that confluence of that fair value gap helping me out. Okay, so now if you're again ICT trade, here's another nice fair value gap sitting right here, and this one's bullish, so you can expect price to go up, right? Price came down in that little candle right here, came down just barely. Let me make sure. Yeah, yep, it barely touched into it right there. And so then it turned back around and, boom, there you go. Okay, but yeah, that's not trade I'm looking for because even though we had this huge run today, right, you could have actually taken this. Now, one thing I want to point out, yeah, let me see, let me turn this on, okay? Why did this candle become our turnaround right here? Why did that candle right here become our turnaround candle, right? We're kind of having this nice move down and we turned around. Now, what could have shown you that that might be a possibility? All right. Let's turn on our new week opening gaps. All right. So, boom, what do you see? There's a new week opening gap. Price comes down into it. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Price comes down into it. I really would hate this, that thing. Okay. Price comes down into the gap. Goes right below the midpoint or consequent encroachment, whatever they call that one, and then turns back around. So again, that's again fair value gap. I mean, sheesh, man, I'm on my worst today. So new week opening gap, strong support, strong resistance. In this case, it became support and turned us around. That may not be the only reason, but that's a good indicator of that you can leverage to say, let me see what price does when it gets here before I decide to make a move. Because if you're just being like you say, oh, a price has been going kind of down the whole day, let me just jump in on the short, you'd have been in trouble. You'd have got stopped out, right, very easily. Okay, so that's one of the things you can leverage to make sure that you're not just, taking a trade all willy-nilly. Okay, wait for it to clear that gap, then take your short if it continues to go down that road. All right, I used that strategy a little bit today. So now here's a trade I wanted to take. Okay, so when we get back here, all right, we got right back up here. Let me make sure I'm talking about the right one. Yeah, I think it's this one. Well, it's two of them actually, right? So I got here and price started to come back down. So now I would actually put a order. Let me make this bigger so we can talk about it real quick here for a second. Okay. All right. So I would actually normally put an order right here on this DR low because that's what we had before, right? We took that 5 point. So price is going this way, starts to come back down. Now, I would have put an order there. Now, why didn't I put an order there? And I thought about it. Honestly, I did. I was like, let me just give it a chance. But then I said, you know what? This bullish fair value gap is sitting right here in my face, right? And I know what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make price want to go that way. So I did not take this trade, all right? And that's part of my process of, just being a little more cautious around taking those trades. If I did not have a fair value gap there, I would have taken that trade and, would have definitely gotten stopped out, down here. Okay. So that was one. And then there was one more. Same thing. We came up here on the IDR, right? Now I would have put an order down here to come back down, but we have another bullish fair value gap looking for me to go for price to go that way. So again, did not take that trade either. So I'm just looking, right? I'm glancing. And now I have alert set on all these lines, right? So I have alert set here, alert on 0.5 fib all the way up. So I'm getting the alerts and it's telling me, hey, price is above, price is moving up. So you might want to take a look, see if the price wants to come back down again. All right. So I'm just watching the alerts, but I'm not taking any action. Okay. So same thing here, right? Here's another one. Huge things on my nerves. Okay. So huge fair value gap here, bullish, right? Price goes up to 0.5 fib. Normally it goes above it. Normally that's a no-brainer. Put an order on there for it to come down. But we got this fair value gap telling me price wants to go up. So I am not messing with it, right? Did not touch it, even though we actually went into that fair value gap. Okay. All right. We did it. We did it here, right? That would have been the entry right here. Okay. Now, so last part of the day, I'm going to a meeting, of course, and my alert goes off, right? My alert that I have up here, actually, first this one went off, which is my IDR high alert. I'm going like, oh, I'm glancing at my phone, like, ooh, Wonder if they're going to have a retirement set up. So then this goes off. My DR high goes off. I'm like, oh, wonder if they're going to have a retirement set up. So by the time I can get out of the meeting and really take a look at the chart itself, I'm seeing this action happen, which again is a really nice nice retirement setup, which I didn't miss that one. So one of my groups, they were like, well, why'd you take a trade here? Somebody had taken the trade, somebody who does DR trading, and they were like, oh yeah, that DR high went above it, pierced it, didn't close above it, so that means that I could take the short. They took it somewhere in here, 44.95, and I know they got 10 points at least off of that trade, right? So really easy, easy trade to get those 10 points off of, right? So a really nice retirement setup right there. So, and that was it. That was, I think that was the day. I think that was all that we had for today. I didn't, I wasn't messing with any of this stuff. Let's say after 3 o'clock. I don't really want to get too much involved unless I see something that's just screaming at me. But we, at that point we had pretty much done for the day. So if you were contrarian, you could have had all this today. Great, glad that somebody did that. Not my trade, not the trade I was looking for. I'm looking for price to, go that way, right? So the only place that did that for me was that spot right there. And like I said, again, these fair value gaps just kind of took me out of taking those shorts just because of how they were structured. Okay, the only one I said I would have taken would have been here, and I wish I even gotten out early enough. I could have done it on the IDR high, at least gotten 5 points out of it. But again, I didn't get out of that meeting until 3 o'clock, so at that point, the move was done. But again, glad some of my folks were able to take that and make some profit off of it. All right, but that's the story for today, my friends. Just taking a look at some of the other things that we can use for confluence, especially around the fair value gaps. And like I said, some people use order blocks, some people use mitigation blocks, and all. I like fair value gaps, so that's what I use. And then new week opening gaps, right? Even though like this new week opening gap that we, that was our reversal today. That one opened. That was 8/27 to 9/1. So that was the end of August where that gap was formed. And lo and behold, we come back down and touch it. Okay, so almost 3 weeks later or whatever it is. All right. So anyway, but that's the story for today. Again, hope everybody had a great day and made some profits today. Tomorrow the FOMC, so head on a swivel, right? You don't trust what you see, right? Because it might not be true. All right, so we'll see what happens there. And I need to go and do some research on what I'm expecting to hear. But again, I'm not, I probably won't trade. Unless I get a solid DR set up in the morning, I probably won't trade until after FOMC, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, you guys have a great one. Love on your loved ones. You never know when we'll be able to do it again, so take advantage of every opportunity to do that. All right, God bless. We'll see you.